As artificial intelligence adoption continues at an unprecedented pace, IT and business leaders are becoming aware that as AI workloads scale and grow in complexity, organizations' IT infrastructure needs to be modern, agile, and robust to meet the demands of innovation with AI. Upgrading infrastructure, in turn, demands a strategic approach that addresses the challenges of today's transformed world. Hi, everybody. My name is Jim Malone. I'm a senior contributing editor working with CIO Marketing Services, and I'll be your host for today's webcast brought to you by CIO and LTIMindtree. In this webcast, you'll hear from a panel of experts on the keys to modernizing infrastructure for AI, including managing the trust and integration issues that can limit innovation with AI and limit its full potential, the role of modern technologies like specialized chipsets and data lakehouses in advancing AI initiatives, and the importance of engaging a partner ecosystem that establishes a strong foundation across infrastructure, governance, strategy, and mindset. Got a great session lined up, so let's meet our speakers. First up, a big hello to Krishnan Iyer, who's the Chief Growth Officer with LTIMindtree. Hey, Krishnan, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks. My name is Krishnan. I'm the Chief Growth Officer of the company and lead all our technology services practice. LTIMindtree has pivoted to being an AI-first company, and becoming an AI-first company requires a fundamental shift in terms of how we approach data, cloud, infrastructure, platforms, and AI itself. In this regard, it's critical to modernize the infrastructure, foster trust, and leverage all our strategic partnerships to scale AI effectively. I'm excited to be here at the webinar. I want to thank Charlie and the Forrester consulting team for their efforts in partnering with LTIMindtree on this important topic.
Next, let's say hello to Pandiya Kumar Rajamony. He goes by Pandi. He's a global head of CIS service line with LTIMindtree.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for all the panelists and Charlie for hosting us today. My name is Pandi. I lead the cloud and infrastructure business globally for LTIMindtree. As we are all, excited about the AI adoption in our client places, my role is to enable our customers to get the right AI infrastructure along with the existing infrastructure modernization and manage them very effectively across the globe.
Now let's say hello to Manoj GS, who's head of CIS Practice for the Americas for LTIMindtree.
Hey, thanks, Jim, and thanks to all the panelists on this webinar. I'm Manoj. I'm responsible for what we do in our cognitive infrastructure services in North America. As this whole space of AI is exploding and customers are taking their journeys towards realizing benefits of what AI can do for their business, my role is to make sure that I bring the right foundational infrastructure that is necessary to run AI for everyone, be it on cloud, be it on on-premise data centers, or off late in the neo cloud. So that's what is keeping us busy. I look forward to this conversation. Thank you.
And now let's welcome Klaus Glatz, who's the Chief Information Officer at Exyte.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webcast. And thanks, Jim, for the brief introduction. As you said, my name is Klaus Glatz. I'm Chief Information Officer at a company called Exyte. Exyte is an EPC company. We are delivering a lot of high-tech facilities to a lot of different business domains everywhere to enable our clients to provide new products and services to enhance the quality of modern life. Which is a very good slogan. So I'm responsible for all IT topics globally, but also for digitalization and bringing AI into the company. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion because the whole AI adoption is key. Is key for all of our services and products, and looking forward to have this discussion.
And a big hello to Matthew Rogers, who's the field CTO at Vast Data.
Yeah, it's really great to be with you today. I am a field CTO at Vast Data for AI and security. Specifically at Vast Data, we have an AI OS that is running lots of model trainers and builders. And on a day-to-day, I work on innovation at Vast. I'm sort of a developer slash AI expert in the past. I've worked in nuclear power and was a CISO and did some startups. So I have 20 years in security, and my security adventure resulted in an AI marriage, which is culminating at Vast and building out solutions.
And let's welcome Charlie Dai, who's Vice President and Principal Analyst with Forrester.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. This is Charlie Dai. I'm the VP Principal Analyst with Forrester. I lead the global research in Forrester in a range of domains, including the AI native cloud, about the foundation models, the generative AI architecture, data management, humanoid robots, and many other domains. So it's great to be part of the panel today.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Now, before we get started, just a quick housekeeping tip to help you get the most out of today's session. And that is check out that resources list on your player. There you'll find lots of great resources that will help you do a deep dive onto this topic. You can download those resources and assets and share them with colleagues, prospects, and customers to help them on their infrastructure modernization journey. So we do encourage you, take advantage of that list. And finally, a big thanks to our sponsor, LTIMindtree, for making this event possible. So to start, I'm going to pass the mic to Charlie Dai for a quick research update. Charlie, over to you.
Thank you, Jim. Hello. For me, it's a great pleasure to be part of the consulting team and to deliver the commission study for LTIMindtree. And today, my presentation has the theme around one important topic, which is about how to architect the future. We have to unlock the scalable enterprise AI with robust architecture. And as you can see from this slide, we have been already 3 years after the launch of the ChatGPT. Everyone will say that one day in AI will be like a year in traditional IT. And AI right now is reshaping the whole world, from the enterprises to the customers of your enterprise to the whole society and the employees of every company. There are a lot of use cases we have seen in the market, from the collaboration to the content generation to customer service, and all the way to the image generation and all kinds of the innovative practices across the board. And AI is delivering on the core value propositions. And in our study, we have seen that there are a range of the drivers that are powering the AI adoption, from the optimization of the operational efficiency to the improvement of the use of the data, to the business strategy improvement, and to the cost reduction. And those kind of drivers are actually powering each enterprise to realize their business benefits. According to our research, we have seen that about 80% of the enterprises we talk with, they have already improved the use of the data and their insights in their business decision making. And also, we have seen that there are a range of the practices around how to do the enhancement on the customer experience and the customer services, and also how they can really accelerate the pace of the digital transformation. And on the other hand, we are also seeing that AI technologies are evolving really rapidly. AI is not something new. It has been there for almost 3 decades. From the very beginning, it is about the predictive analytics, and now it's becoming more generative. And then the task-specific models are becoming more foundational, and we usually will do the fine-tuning based on some pre-trained models. And on the other hand, previously, the AI has been hosted centrally on premises in a single environment. And now it's more about heterogeneous environments in the multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, and the edge. And the last but not least, we have seen that the transformation from the narrow AI all the way to the agentic AI with more autonomy. So all these different technologies are evolving, and you can expect there will be a lot of complexity. And also, we are seeing that the organizations are focusing on building and applying the AI models. And within all these practices, from the data to the baseline models, to the fine-tuned models, to the grounding models, and eventually to the Gen AI applications, AI infrastructure will play a very key role. We will need infrastructure to do the pre-training. We will need the infrastructure to do the fine-tuning, including the prompt engineering and instruction tuning and the reinforcement learning. And also we will need that for the RAG and the compression, and eventually for the agent development and all kinds of the DevOps automation. And firms are also modernizing their AI infrastructure along this journey. And this journey is all about the hybrid technology portfolios for their infrastructure. You can see from this slide, it will use CPUs together with GPUs and increasingly the TPUs and other DPUs. And on the other hand, from networking perspective, it's a hybrid portfolio across the VPN gateways, the SDN, the VPC, and SD-WAN, and other domains. And then on the storage side, the block storage, the object storage, and the container native block storage will all be part of the landscape. And from the system type perspective, from the SAN to the NAS to the DAS, there will always be the complexity across the board for the storage. And specifically around the GPUs, it has already become the top priority and the demands for other specialized chipsets and also be growing very fast. You can see to compare the current with the future, there will be a lot of usage around the GPUs, and there will be more usage around the TPUs and ASICs chipsets. And last but not least, cloud is also the backbone for the AI innovation. This is the architectural diagram from Forrester regarding our vision in the future for the cloud. It not only power the architecture modernization, it will also augment the workload decentralization across the multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. And then the platform-driven innovation will power the AI 2.0, which is about predictive AI together with the generative AI. And all other domains from data management to the IoT or to the blockchain, they will always be part of the innovation. And they all seems to be the great news, but you can see that there are very critical gaps in the AI infrastructure capabilities. They are challenging the enterprises to fully unlock AI's value. From our research, we have seen that many organizations, they are still struggling with inadequate data prep work, and their infrastructure cannot support it. To compare the experimenting and the production environments, you can see that from data prep work to the training and the inferencing, every domain across different stages, there will be critical challenges. And then from the trust perspective, enterprises are lacking the trust towards AI systems. This is because there will be the lack of the trust in the system itself. There will be the concerns around data privacy and security. There will be concerns around the cloud infrastructure, as well as the lack of the strategy and the governance across the board. And as organizations are growing their businesses, the complexity are also increasing in terms of the data management. You can see that on this slide, from the small and medium enterprises all the way to the large enterprises, the complexity of the managing data across data lakes and data warehouses, they will become increasingly critical towards their business priorities. And eventually, the siloed data across the systems of the cloud, they will be really challenging for firms to generate the business outcome. And last but not least, the challenges will also include the high cost of the compute, storage, and network resources, and also over 50% of decision makers, they will need the high power processors, and that might conflict with their own sustainability goals. So how can we address all these challenges? We have to work with strategic partners so that we can really build a robust architecture and future-proof your AI strategy. You have to first actively invest in the AI platforms and the infrastructure so that we can support more business processes. You can see that on the roadmap of the enterprises we talk with, they really want to develop new AI-enabled products and services. They want to explore the new AI use cases. They also want to invest in the cloud-native AI platforms so they can really gain the flexibility. And the modernization of their data infrastructure will also be part of the landscape. And all those will be the driver to really realize their business plans to adopt AI technologies, from applications to the model development and to the data infrastructure. And the second priorities will be to prioritize the scalable, adaptable, and secure AI architecture so they can address all those key technology challenges. It relates to the AI security, relates to the AI data management, about the cloud infrastructure, about the data infrastructure, and all the way to the model development across the model ops lifecycle. And then enterprises also have to anticipate the surging AI spending with the generative AI leading the charge. From this slide, you can see all the data there. Most of the companies will invest in the agentic AI, in the generative AI, in the AI network, storage, compute, and even the physical AI. And all these will need a lot of activities and practices to make it happen. So we have to seek strategic AI infrastructure partners to co-design the long-term AI transformation. You can see on this slide, over 50% of the enterprises, they will need the support for their AI strategy development. They'll also need the high quality of the AI algorithms. They will need the industry expertise. Their services are easy and to implement and intuitive. And also they will need experiences from their partners to customize the models towards their specific use cases. So to summarize, this is our strategic recommendations. First, we need to tailor the infrastructure so we can really match the AI workload requirements. Second, to scale our AI infrastructure, we need to build the trust. And eventually, we need to leverage strategic partners so we can really accelerate the AI outcomes. It's all about the AI outcomes. This is what I want to share with you before we deep dive into the panel discussions. And the first question, I like to go with the speaker from LTI. And I just mentioned about the outcome-driven priorities. And from your perspective, what do you think that is shaping the decisions about the infrastructure?
Thanks, Charlie. In fact, in today's fast evolving business and technology landscape, your emphasis on outcome driven priorities is actually reshaping how we think about infrastructure, not just as a technical backbone, but as a strategic enabler. Every enterprise out there is trying to improve their operational efficiency, business resiliency, accelerating the time to market, and trying to reduce costs and improve revenue growth. And every enterprise is enhancing the data-driven insights in business decision making. And what we have seen so far from all our customers, that AI has delivered significant use cases that can accelerate these outcomes, driving this whole digital transformation, which is outcome driven, while ensuring cyber risk avoidance. And we've also helped organizations to invest in infrastructure that supports advanced AI. This requires high performance compute, flexible storage, advanced networking. And for example, GPUs are becoming a top priority, and hybrid cloud adoption is now the norm to support AI workloads. And finally, the outcome-driven mindset is also influencing partnerships. Enterprises are seeking strategic collaborators who can design and deliver the AI solutions, including the AI infrastructure that will deliver the business outcomes. And this is where LTIMindtree's Blueverse comes in. Blueverse is our system of intelligence that helps enterprise realize faster value from their investments. It has a rich set of blueprints, reference architectures, and pre-built solutions that are designed to streamline the operations, modernize the legacy systems, and accelerate the AI deployments. Over to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Krishnan. That is really insightful, and those blueprints will definitely play a key role there. And my second question is about the pain points. So, what are some of the most urgent infrastructure pain points from your perspective, and how can IT leaders address them? I'd like to go with Manoj.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. Indeed, there are a lot of pain points. So the way we look at it is when we look at the infrastructure specific pain points, the very basics still start showing up. There are a lot of end of life assets. It can be, be it a computer, storage, a network, whatever it is. There's a scalability issue when it comes to on-premise. If you go to cloud, there is again scalability is there, but cost goes out of control. But then as organizations become large, there's also a big challenge of the level of visibility that they have into what is really going on in their infrastructure, and to even have a proper inventory of what is happening in the infrastructure is also sometimes very difficult. Many times customers are not able to understand the impact of infrastructure element into what is their critical business process having, right? So those are kind of things. Now add to it this whole journey of AI, which actually takes this whole complexity into a different level, because you have businesses that are trying to do use cases in the Gen AI space because they are seeing a lot of opportunities of how business can get transformed. And they are working on MVPs, which initially would go into cloud. And then over a period of time, they have to become mainstream in their infrastructure. And that's where you don't have the GPUs or this, CPUs cannot scale up to that kind of a workload need. You have network which just cannot handle the east-west traffic because your bandwidth that is required is almost around 800 Gbps to 1.6 terabytes of transfer that is required. Edge becomes very important. So edge is not ready to transfer into a network at that speed. Storage cannot handle that. So complete revisit of the whole data center is what is something that we are seeing that is happening now in this whole process. Needless to say, security is again a big challenge because what happens to the controls, because we want to give flexibility to the new workloads that are coming in, but the guardrails that are required for traditional security as well as security in the AI guardrails, that is something that we have to kind of address. So that's what we are seeing as the pain points.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Manoj. Indeed, AI is a journey, and there will always be challenges on the journey. So, Matthew, do you agree with Manoj on those points? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so I think what I see with customers and general problems with AI right now is we're at this sort of inflection point where technology is immature and a lot of it is greenfield. Um, Companies are buying SaaS sort of solutions to start their journey, and they end up copying small data sets to them that get outdated very fast. So as the interactions go, the quality of the data goes down. It becomes an operational challenge. It's a huge OpEx problem, depending on how you're going to integrate with your AI. The data foundation's really important. Being able to feed your AI and consistently maintain it. Right now, I helped a customer the other day. They had over 50 vector stores that they're trying to feed AI with, and they switched to Vast to get a single vector source so that they can run their transactions, right? Because what good's AI if it's answering things on documents that are 6 months out of date, right? So I think that keeping AI up to date is really important, and that's a challenge from point in time, proof of concept type of things. So the technology in general in this space is all over the place. There's really good stacks. There's not so good stacks, and there's operational pressures from a cost perspective as you're trying to scale this out. And just the bottom line is getting data to AI, keeping it relevant, and having these things deliver value. That's the foundational requirement for success with this, and that is the real challenge, right? And with these legacy systems and this type of thing, it can be very, very hard. And that's the premise of what Vast Data is doing, is trying to deliver universal endpoints that can be fed from our AI OS, right? Um, I do think that the security integration, that gets lost too. When you go to these wham bam quick setup situations, you lose the integration with your ACLs and your specific policies with data. And then you have to buy other products to help maintain those. And when you lay on SaaS product on top of SaaS product on top of SaaS product, you end up having to put the quarter in every time you try to run a transaction, and it becomes very, very expensive to manage. I think that one of the phrases I like to, because you're trying to convert CapEx to save OpEx, right? That's a business challenge with AI. And your competitors, if they manage their OpEx better, they're going to win every deal because they're simple margins, right? So managing that and not ending up with a lot of SlopEx, right? That OpEx spend that just keeps going up and up and you don't know what for in AI is challenging. So I think it's an interesting time. Getting the data, maintaining it, maintaining security as you go is a huge challenge for CIOs and leaders.
Yeah, definitely. I fully agree with you on that. Also aligns really well with our research on all these different challenges. And then the next question, I like to switch angle a little bit. I like to ask Klaus. So previously, I mentioned a little bit about the complexity in managing the data. So from your perspective, how did you address those data management complexities?
Thanks for the question, Charlie. And I cannot agree more what Matthew was just saying, because the fundamental issue here is this, we call it legacy architectures or legacy data architectures in terms of, it's still siloed applications creating data. And to bring that into a meaningful relation to each other is still the biggest topics. All the enterprises, I guess, if we go back several years, we had our applications, we had our infrastructure, we had data stored somewhere. And now I guess AI is just as good as the underlying data is. So we just, in our case, we started an initiative which we called One Data Architecture, but still this is nothing what you can do overnight. So it's an evolving topic. We started with POC, MVP, the whole thing, really to understand the quality of data what we're having, the correctness of data, whereas then all topics what you typically have, single source of truth, whereas the major data set residing, this is still fundamental issues here in the whole the best possible usage of AI. Also, what was said already, the whole transition into an AI optimized architecture is for sure a huge cost topic, because I guess you need to go into architectures which are definitely more costly as you typically have, and really to show what is now the business value in all your investments, not just in simplifying, in aligning in data, but also in the backbones, in the GPUs, in order to create a specific business outcome is a huge challenge here, what we're still addressing. So as I said, in our case, we started a One Data platform initiative. We also work very closely with the business. We have a good organizational alignment, making sure we are developing AI solutions or use cases here, which really helps our business to get better. We also founded an AI Center of Excellence, where we get a lot of talent together to work on specific use cases. But it's a fundamental shift here in terms of how we operate, how we're doing things. I guess the whole digital transformation here was always a nice buzzword, but now I guess here we see it now coming really into reality, and it influences or has an impact on a lot of activities and a lot of layers where we operate today.
That's awesome. Thank you, Klaus, for sharing your practices. And I love your initiative of the One Data. That is something we really need to, unify all the data silos and really make the outcomes happen at the end of the day. In the next topic, I'd like to talk about the trust. So if you still remember, I mentioned about the lack of the trust in my previous slides. I'd like to hear from the panels how that is playing out in your engagements. So maybe Matthew, do you want to talk a little bit about how you manage these challenges for your clients?
So trust in AI is such an interesting sort of problem, right? Because if you go back a year ago and you go to the old ChatGPT 3.5 and you ask it certain things, and even today, I run into people that say, I got this AI agent to tell me this crazy thing by sending it all these prompts, right? So I think there's a baseline distrust of AI, and people aren't aware of the current status of the development, right, of these models and how fast they're going. Right now, I think the most important thing with any AI product is to manage the context to it and have it answer to the context. Kind of like a works cited for a middle schooler, right? When you're integrating these AI solutions, they ought to tell you why they came to the conclusion, and they ought to link back to the corresponding documents, right? So any foundational AI workflow should explain why it came to that solution and where it came from. And that's really important about the context component of working with these models, is giving them relevant context that's current to then base their decisions on to give you a high quality output. And linking back to those documents is critical. Like with the vast solution, we have this disaggregated shared everything namespace. So when you tie in, you'll feed in the latest documents to the AI. And in the workflows, you get, this came from section so-and-so of this document, and you link back to it and you make it available to the user. In my experience, I built out AI Security Operations Center. That's where I really got into AI. I built out a 50-plus person security operations center managing 6,000 plus tickets a week. And we worked that down to 300 or so tickets that needed a manual interaction, which was huge OpEx savings and a quality increase. And part of that was working with the team. I had the SOC team. They did not want to work with any of this AI stuff, right? Because of feelings of distrust. And so what we started doing, and this is, I worked with an operations team as well with hundreds of people at a previous company supporting ERP. And what we did was we took relevant alarms, fed them into context, appended them to tickets, and showed that the AI was adding value by decreasing their workflow. So like when you get an alarm on a SAP system that's misbehaving, all of a sudden in the ticket, you include all of the runtime data. You have it pull the logs, you have it link back. And then they see this and you build this trust because it's linked back to actual real data, and it becomes something that's useful. I think it's very important that you demonstrate the trust by linking in the original material. And context is everything. I feel like when you ask AI to be too creative, you're asking for a problem. Context. That is so important when you're using AI. It's like giving your lawyer the right documents, right? You ask for your lawyer's opinion on a problem you have, and you send him the wrong material, him or her. They're going to give you a result based upon whatever material they have or whatever they have on hand, and it might not be right, and that's your fault, I think, on how you manage that. And to the point like Klaus is making, one data type of solution where you bring in what you need for relevant material and you give that to the AI and then you link back, then there's nothing to argue about, right? It's right back to the source. And I think that that's an important part of managing your AI strategy. It's tied back to data and making sure that the data is relevant, is fed into the AI, and then you have some validation. And then there's really no discussion about trust. It's all based on relevant material.
But maybe, Matthew, just to add what you're saying, and I couldn't agree more, but I guess one of the additional issues I see here is that trust issues often stem from poor visibility of what AI is doing or what AI is working. Because at the end of the day, you throw data into an AI model, there's magic happening, and then there's a result. And I still think that we need to do a better job in really explaining how AI models are really taking decisions. The data is the fundament. I guess no doubt about that. But I guess it's we should move away from this black box doing something magic, and suddenly I guess there's an outcome, believe it or not. But we also started here really to work on the trust issue in terms of starting to explain how this really is working. And it's not magic. It all relates or depends on good data. But also to explain a little bit the LLMs and the models behind that is also something where you can gain much more trust here from people using that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I think as you're going through the process, saying that the AI is reading this document from this source and this type of thing, the feedback to the user feels like something's happening, right? And you give them that visual piece, and then you link back, and that's all powered off a strong data foundation.
Absolutely, and the context is key. So that really explain, I guess, where it originates from. What is it really doing? I think this is fundamentally important here to really gain trust.
Yeah, and the security to that context, right? Making sure that you don't give the wrong documents to the AI, that it's tied to the ACLs of the user, so that they get this high quality response based upon data that's relevant and data they should have access to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is amazing conversations. I fully agree with Klaus that we needed to build a really good data foundation. Also, Matthew, context really matters. And in our culture, we always say that for something important, we need to say it 3 times. And you mentioned context for 9 times in your conversation. So it truly matters. And coming back to our key theme of today's conversation on the AI infrastructure, I'd like to understand what's your journey of the AI infrastructure to really make the trust and the data happens. Do you want to start first, Matthew?
Yeah. So, pulling from history in nuclear power and ERP space, reliability and data protection are key tenets that I follow every day, right? With a CISSP and a focus on making sure that no matter what we do to advance, we don't damage the business and we don't damage the data, right? Or have disclosures that we shouldn't have. AI infrastructure ties back really to so I keep saying data, right? But it's tied back to a data foundation, and AI operates as a intermediate for yourself to proxy data and help you produce results, right? That's the bottom line. You call an API with a chunk of data and you get some sort of response, and then you get a textual response or a binary generation through like diffusion, and then you can make decisions on that, right? So infrastructure-wise, disparate data sources spread all over the place, right? And then that's a big challenge for business. It's data everywhere. And today, enterprise search. I've been told it's reductive, but I like to compare being AI or implementing AI infrastructure as an effective way of piggybacking on enterprise search. If you can't search all your documents everywhere, you're going to have a really hard time feeding your AI solution and maintaining. I see Klaus nodding. He's going to tie on this, but that's a key component, right? And to that point, you need a foundation where you can feed these AI things, and also GPUs. You need incredible read speed. You need low latency and the ability to read in a highly parallel way to feed these things. And your users can't wait. Right, infrastructure-wise, they can't hit enter like you do on ChatGPT, and you wait 5-10 seconds sometimes, and you get some sort of response that says thinking. Your enterprise user can't wait 3 minutes. They can't wait 5 minutes. They can't take this long. It needs to be a fast response, and it needs to be current. And that all ties back to your data model and being able to produce those things quickly, whether it's a vector search or a database scan to produce these documents and inject them into context, because that's the key, right? Infrastructure, feeding GPUs, storage, this type of thing is very important. And that's where the infrastructure is changing to feed these things. Whether you're feeding GPUs or feeding inference, you need to be able to do massive parallel reads with logging, so you can say where the data came from to meet your requirements, whether they're European requirements or US AI Act type stuff. This all ties back to that. So that's the challenge, right? Safe, secure, fast. This is the regular IT tenets. The revolution we went through in the 2000s is happening again.
No, absolutely. And
awesome.
also maybe from my side, what you're saying, data and documents, always goes back to the old theme saying, if I would know what I know. So we are collecting data since decades. We're seldomly really making use of data, and also the knowledge what I'm collecting in all these documents, purchase orders, whatever it is. So at the end of the day, I guess the whole topic of continuously modernizing the infrastructure, whether it's then cloud, hybrid, whatever it is, it needs to be just adding, Matthew, what you were saying, it needs to be scalable, needs to be resilient. But at the end of the day, it also need to be cost effective, because we don't have endless money, so to say, which also sounds like a little bit mission impossible. So this continuous improvement, continuous modernization is something which is infrastructure for me is now really getting back to the table, because you need to invest now a lot in really making sure, as you said, I guess, if someone is sitting in front of his machine and he needs to wait for 2 minutes until he gets a result back, no one will do that. And really to bring that into an infrastructure environment where you're still secure, scalable, resilient, but also, as I said, at the end of the day, cost effective is the topic of the day, so to say. That's why you need to work with partners like LTIM here, getting their experience, getting their knowledge, or partners with you, Matthew, really to see, I guess, what we need to do in order to make this happen. But as that infrastructure was for a very long time seen as a necessary evil, but now I guess it's really getting back to the table, because it will be a differentiating factor, how well you are able design your infrastructure to really being able to cope with the modern requirements.
That's awesome. Yeah, those three key elements from the secure to the fast and to the cost effective is really important. And from our clients, we also hear some challenges regarding reliability because to do the checkpoint reload, it will be really challenging for most of the practitioners there. So yeah, eventually, I think the last question I have is regarding uh, the AI infrastructures partners. So I already mentioned that for most enterprises, they really need to leverage the partner strengths to jumpstart their app initiatives as well as to making sure the practices aligns with their strategy, which means that they not only need the high quality and responsible AI solutions that are tailored to their specific needs, they also need the support for their AI strategy to make sure they have the long-term partners along their journey. I'd like to hear from the panels, what would be your suggestions on this part? So, Pandy, would you like to comment on that?
Sure, Charlie. Thank you for inviting me. Matthew and Klaus talked about high performance compute, storage, etc. I would also like to add the advanced network, right? With more and more data being transferred between systems and the edges are becoming more AI aware, it's also very important that we, transform the network so that, traffic between the systems are much seamless and AI is becoming much more, effective. In line with, this conversation, I also wanted to bring out that, you know, whatever we talk today, I see that very clearly echoing in our client conversations, right? The most of our clients are not looking at technology solutions. They are looking at systems that are resilient and adaptable to be defined and deployed. There are, why they are looking at that aspect? Because there are two challenges they are experiencing today. One is you are, as rightly Klaus and Matthew talked about, the fragmented data sitting across multiple, locations. Bringing them all together is one important challenge, right? The second aspect is if you look at the application nature, the applications are still, where you see from SaaS to monolithic various combinations which we see in the landscape. When you look at all these, challenges, you also have, our current systems are mostly transactional workloads. And then in contrast, what we have, AI workloads are, most of intelligence centric architecture, and that is distributed with the multi-models and, designed for high volume. This requires, much more looking into how you can have a reliable and, stable architecture. So these two challenges, what happens is our clients are looking at, not defining a roadmap. Roadmaps are, kind of destinations. But what you need to do is you need to have a partner who can, you know, take you through the journey, which is adaptable and, taking you to the next level journey as see the new technologies coming in, because this world is changing very rapidly. The technology in AI space is, getting obsoleted very often. We have already seen some of the GPUs are outdated, right? And AI solutions are continuously evolving. So in this continuously changing world, you need a partner who will define a strategy which is adaptive and much more strategic and take you to the next world. So we see that conversation happening with our clients regularly.
That's very insightful, Pandy, and I fully agree with you. There's no destination on this journey. We always need to go through the journey and making sure we have the outcomes on every step. So there's one more thing I'd like to seek advice from Manoj. So basically, regarding the role of the hybrid cloud in a modern and AI-ready infrastructure. So how can cloud can really help the IT leaders to prioritize the scalable, adaptable, and secure AI infrastructure that I mentioned previously?
A great question, Charlie. Indeed, a great question. The role of cloud, right? A hybrid cloud, to be more precise. So we heard a few things that were coming out through the discussions that Klaus, Matthew, and Pandey just spoke. Right. One is data, and I mean Klaus spoke about one data, which means data is spread across the enterprise. Matthew mentioned, as you said, 9 times about context. Then we had Pandi talking about the speed at which GPUs are also getting obsolete. So if you really put all these things in context and look at it, hybrid cloud is not an option. It is a must to have, right? And as I said early on when we started, when we say hybrid cloud, it is not just a private cloud and a public cloud, but these days even the neo cloud. And the reason I say that is, like, let's think about this now. Almost all your enterprises have data scattered across the world, across their landscape, be it on the edge, be it on premise, and be it everywhere. So you need to bring them all together. So you don't have that choice. The speed at which you have the GPUs kind of becoming outdated, uh, trying to invest in hardware which actually has got the NVIDIA Hopper in it and all those things, it's good for very large enterprises. But for a medium enterprise, medium segment enterprise, it's better to be on a neo cloud so that you don't really have to sit and worry about what is your GPUs that is running around. So on the same path, if you look at the network again, the speed at which you need to kind of train and then follow that with the right inferences, you really would play the card of training on cloud and then bringing certain things on prem. So the hybrid cloud plays an important role. Now add to it all this, you have the role of security. So if you really want to play near security in the, I mean, Matthew pointed out a couple of times, especially with the fact that he was in the nuclear world. If you want to have the right guardrails, then you play the native cloud securities on that space, and then of course the traditional security that is able to be there, overlay with all the SASE elements that can come in and have the right NOC and SOC environments that can real time detect and read logs and get to you the actual inferences that is happening. The speed at which this has to happen is just super fast, at wire probably nanosecond, right? Like it's as fast as trading applications are. So that's what the role of cloud is. So it is no more a hybrid cloud is. It's no more an option. It is a must, and it's, as I said, it's public, private, and neo all together.
Those are great insights. I'm very happy, Manoj, you mentioned about the new cloud. That is one key segment in the AI native cloud of the report that we recently published, and this is really critical to make it happen. So I think those are pretty much about the questions for today. I really like the conversation. I learned a lot from this, and I look forward to working with each one of you on this journey to deliver the business outcome. So over to you, Jim.
Thank you so much. And thanks to all of our panelists. That was a great conversation, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have left for this session. Let's give a big thanks to our speakers, Krishnan Iyer, Pandiya Rajamony, and Manoj GS with LTIMindtree, Klaus Glatz with Exyte, Matthew Rogers with Vast Data, and Charlie Dai with Forrester. Thanks to you all. Really great conversation. And a big thanks to our audience. Now, before you go, do remember, check out that resources list. There you'll find lots of great information that you can download to share with colleagues, prospects, and customers to really help them on their infrastructure journey. So do take advantage of that. And with that, for CIO and LTIMindtree, this is Jim Malone saying, thanks everyone for tuning in.